Hey Ringside crew, welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And now here's your host, Joe, Panther III.
Hello there, wrestling fans, and welcome to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am Joe Panther III, and wow, we're in the middle of the Women's Wrestling Month, and I have this young lady right here she's joining the show, she's doing interviews, she's having fun. Brookelle, welcome to Dudes at Ringside podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So, when did you start loving? When was your first time you ever with your first experience with professional wrestling?
I was like a lifelong fan. I was watching The Undertaker, The Rock, John Cena, as a kid. I always loved the WWE, but I didn't get involved until this year. I think it was oh, probably God, it was like within probably November. I think November there was the tattoo convention in Miami, the All Stars convention. And the guy that throws that show, Emilio, tries really hard to bring something more and different to the table as far as tattoo shows go. So he had hired CCW wrestlers to perform all weekend. And the first day I ended up not having an appointment, so I ended up walking around a lot, wandered to the ring, and immediately was intrigued. And then I started watching, the show that they had on Friday. I was in love with it. I told all the wrestlers that I met, like, just come to my booth. You can get a free tattoo. Just promote me, tip me, whatever. Like, I don't care. I'm just doing it for the love of doing it. So that's kind of how I met real professional wrestlers. And then everything else happened really, really quickly. And sometimes I get to do their interviews. I design t-shirts and logos for them. I tattoo them. I'm going to go hang out with them more frequently in Florida, like the Orlando area, as things lift off more. But it all happened like really quickly and kind of by fate, I guess.
That's so cool that you're a tattoo artist and you're a wrestling fan. So being a tattoo artist, is there anything really hard that you've ever had to tattoo that a person gave you like a picture what they wanted?
Sometimes it's challenging in terms of the image, but what's the most challenging part of tattooing is that your medium is alive and breathing. So skin is difficult with like places in the skin. I think the most difficult tattoos that I've had to do are in places like the neck area and like weird skin more so than like the image itself, because I've always been a fine artist. I went to high school to like specialize in it, went to college for it. So that to me is not like the challenge. That kind of comes naturally. The challenge is like the skill and the technical stuff involved as far as like, these areas and all that.
Mhm. I get it. You don't want to pull a horror movie. You're tattooing someone's neck and you go right over and they accidentally twitch if they have a Tourette or whatever, and it's like fink. It's only got a little something on
Yeah.
the face. Like, have you
Hasn't
ever?
happened yet.
Yeah. Like, do you ever get a chance to go like the smaller shows when you're not tattooing? Like, except like that the convention you went to, like, get a chance to go to an independent show?
Yeah, it's mostly CCW thus far. So I've been to Nashville, Tennessee, and that's where I did interviews for CCW wrestlers. And then in my upcoming travels within the next week, I'll be joining people to go to like AEW show, and then I will be they do in Miami for CCW like Bash at the Brewery. So I got invited to not only attend, but they're gonna let me set up tattooing there. So I'm gonna tattoo during the event and everything. So I do get to go out and do those things. But for me, it's like it's all under the premise of like it's work. So even when I go and I'm not tattooing, I'm just doing interviews or just kind of generally having fun. It's still like it's a tax write-off. It's a work trip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're lucky, lady, because the job I had, I'm a wrestling fan, and they know, and they're like, "Oh, Joe, but we're gonna have you work 11 to 7," and I'm just like,
Perfect timing.
"Great, wrestling shows usually start at 7, so I'm gonna be like, I'm here. Why are you limping? I lost my shoe at the car. I ran here."
Yeah,
My
pretty
dad's
much.
like, "Randy, your freaking shoe, and you left your jacket. You just ran in the door." Like,
As long as you're there.
your sock is stuck to the door because you got stuck to the door as the metal hang on the door.
Forget about it.
everything left. You left your glasses in the car. You left your hat in the car. You just, I think your pants got stuck to the door. You're just, oh, man, underwear and a t-shirt. Okay,
But we made it to our seat, so it's cool.
made it to my seat. Security is saying, "Why is this guy naked?" I'm a naked wrestling fan. Panthers have fur. Okay, jealous. um, so like when you go to your like the shows or the conventions, do you ever have to pack like a lunch or like a dinner so you don't have to eat at the venues or anything?
That would be smarter. Typically I just kind of go without, or a lot of venues won't let you bring in food or drinks even if you're an artist. So on Thursday when we have the setup day, we'll sneak stuff in. So if we want to have like a large jug of water to use, or oftentimes we're living off of the candy that's on the tables, or like protein bars, or just like granola bars, just like little
Hmm.
stuff.
When you like do your interviews, which ones do you find easier or harder to interview, like the heels or the faces?
Um, what was funny when I was interviewing, I had just met pretty much everyone that day, and I'm familiar with like being in character, or I was in theater in high school, so I get what it's like to be like the citizen, and then once you put your outfit on, then you're the, whatever character you are. I did not know who was a heel and who was a babyface, because a lot, especially the girl wrestlers I spoke to, they were so sweet to me, and they let me like help them clean off their little outfit, get them ready. Like everyone was being so adorable. And then when it came time to do the interview, I interviewed this one girl, and I didn't realize she was a heel, and she was like incredibly rude to me during the interview, and it was a very authentic reaction of me being like, I thought we were friends. So the hard part was like keeping up with pretty much like the little bit of a script that they gave me, like the little bit of lines that I was supposed to say. Most of the wrestlers wanted me to do like a lot of the talking. So I was like, okay, sure. Let me just double check in my notes here. So I was carrying my phone with me to make sure I got it right. But we got most of the interviews done in like one, maybe two takes. So I think like the actual real reactions were good too. So it wasn't like too much acting. You could tell that I was genuinely like appalled or surprised or something.
Yeah. That's like the easy but hard part. Like when I go to the shows, I don't have a script. They never tell me, "You want to interview me? Okay, let's just talk. Let's talk for a few seconds and then cut it a short interview," because they were always, you know how it is. Wrestlers are always running around. They have to get them stretched. They have to be in their spot, on their mark. And like,
Mhm.
do you think, I know you have your tattoo gigs, but do you think you could find like, if CCW saw you did interviews and they liked your style, would you make it a lifetime to be like a backstage interviewer?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of hoping. So most of the wrestlers I spoke to, they were pretty psyched about giving me the opportunity to do the interview, just because I was so open to it, where I guess most people are intimidated by that. But I know that I'm kind of like destined for bigger things. I'm not camera shy, so I'm happy to be involved as far as that goes. But the more that I make friends with them and get to know them and collaborate with them, the more they seem open to me being a character or a manager. And then if I decide to go forward with like training, they said that they would show me stuff in the ring, and already have kind of like a projected storyline that I could do. I feel like ultimately I'd end up being a heel, which I'm cool with, but I'm hoping in 2025 I do get the opportunity to be more serious. I genuinely love doing the interviews. I love watching. I just like to be involved. I like tattooing them, being friends with them. It's a parallel to my career. A lot of times people will compare tattooers to rock stars because we make our own schedule. People generally like love us. It's kind of like a public figure thing, and people that are into wrestling or kind of like out of the box professions like that, they understand kind of the lifestyle, the travel, being a public figure. So it's easier for me to get along with people that are like that versus someone that has like a 9 to 5 and doesn't understand how, I also have to play a character. I have to do a lot of social media, a lot of travel, and not most people just don't get that. So it's exciting for me to be in a community that's so similar, but also something new and different, because I've been tattooing for like going on 14 years, and I
Wow.
love it. It's my passion, but it's nice to be able to like use that skill to enter into like a new hobby or career or something.
Hmm. So when you're tattooing a person, do you have a special like playlist that's on in the background, or do you like ask the guest that you're tattooing what kind of music they like?
I generally don't ask the client. No, it's more or less like when the artist is feeling like the most comfortable, you get the best artwork. So when I'm at home at the private studio with my two bosses, they're usually the ones that are in charge of the playlist. If I'm on the road and we're at a convention, you oftentimes can't hear because everything's too loud, anyways. Um, but if it's just me alone in the private studio, it depends on the day and my mood. Sometimes I do like to listen to music, but I get like really influenced by the music. So if the client is cool with it, I like to listen to podcasts a lot of the time, whether it be comedy or true crime. And most of my clients are girls or gays, so most of the time they're into the true crime too. So that passes larger chunks of time too. You're listening to a podcast anywhere from like 2 to 3 hours, so that could be a whole session. So it's easy to just both of us turn off and have something to entertain us where it's not like me trying to focus and then talk to you and then focus, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can also don't forget to listen to Dudes at Ringside podcast and
Don't forget that one. That's the
don't
best
don't
one.
forget Dudes at Ringside. We're a very important part of the Spotify world, and also my nerd culture show with Rain. I could see her in a cartoon version of my buddy Rain that does Ghost Head Nerd Talk will exist. Now we're recording this in 24, but we're in 25 with this airs, and I could see a cartoon version of Rain going like this.
There you go.
You realize that
Yeah.
I Ghost Head Talk is the 4-year existent podcast, but dude, the Ghost Head Nerd Talk has existed for 9 years. That's my nerd culture show.
Oh boy.
So if it wasn't for Ghost Head Nerd Talk, these red glasses would not exist. So like literally they're on my desk. These are the original OG, like green glasses before red glass, like hose, but rose before hose, red, green before red.
That's funny.
Oh, we don't want Ghostbusters Joe to Thanos snap his fingers and like Joe Panther Third like like, but over all their heads is Joe the Greeter, which that's who originally was the host before Ghostbuster Joe is Joe. All of them, he's going like this. Don't make me snap my fingers. Both of you better stop fighting. Go back in time and say, you don't need to do Ghost Head Talk. That was boring. Don't do Dudes at Ringside. That was whack. And then everything just evaporates offline.
Oh no.
I'll never have met you now.
That would be a real shame, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I've been sad. So do you collect anything?
Collect ink mostly on my
Okay.
body. I actually just yesterday went and started the second layer of my bodysuit, so I'm like already completely covered head to toe.
Ooh.
But most of my stuff, especially like in this area, is 10 years old, so it's kind of like faded out. So I decided to go ahead and just do a new layer with heavier black. But I think that would qualify as something that I collect the most. I have odd fascinations with other things such as like crystals and rocks and stuff. I have things like sitting right here. I love that kind of like witchy stuff. I have an obsession with tiny things for whatever reason, like Hello Kitty and
I have
such.
this guy.
So
I have my little friend that's here too who keeps an eye on me. My
you
big
get
friend.
it, yeah.
He and I got Pops. I got one of Joe Panther the Third. Even though me and Pop Joe's are not matching today.
Oh, that is so cute.
It's Joe before the beard. It's like everybody's asking me, is it going to be a new look? Are you going to? No, in March, or maybe later, maybe like late February. I'm going to go back to the good old stash because it's odd having a beard and have to take care of it like it's a small child. Like,
Well, at least it keeps you warm in the cold season, you know.
yeah, and I have the
It has a
moms going like
purpose.
this, and have the moms going. I'm like,
Ah.
gonna teach me the law. Oh!
Oh.
I'm idiot. I'm a dummy. I'm gonna be like this. Yeah.
The surf
Oh,
shop, bro.
what? Yeah, bro. No, Joe. She wants your number. Nobody wants my number. You don't want my number. No. I'm just a lonely podcaster. No one wants to talk to the wrestling fan. I have a lot of people in my area that are like wrestling. Thanos. And they
Oh my
finish.
god, yeah. I get made fun of all the time. People think it's so silly, but I don't care. I love it. I'm so excited to be a part of the community.
It's so it like because you do your tattoos. Do you ever like see someone with a wrestling shirt and just start a conversation with them?
Believe it or not, I'm not very extroverted or social, really. But the chances that I see someone in a wrestling shirt are low. But the gym that I go to, I wear WWE like franchise stuff. And there was one time where there was one other guy that had on a shirt that was like I guess it would be considered vintage at this point. It was like The Undertaker or whatever, so it was nostalgic for me. And I did go up and I was like, sick. And he wasn't a fan. He just like had bought the shirt at like a thrift store and was like, well, I just like thought it looked cool. I was like, oh God.
And I'm like,
I don't know
and
who's
this is when the
embarrassed, me or you.
conversation ends. I no. Like
Yeah. Like, take it
it's it's
off.
it's like for me, like these wrestlers, they'll say to me, "Hey, do you want a shirt?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and they'll send me a shirt in the mail. And I jokingly call myself the indie billboard. Like I'll be wearing one day I'll be wearing a Liberty Pro women's wrestling shirts from Tennessee. The next day I'll be wearing the Miami Magic City from Miami their T-shirt, and then I'll be wearing like Big Mama. She's another wrestler. She works with NWA. I'll be wearing Vicious Vicky shirt the next day. Like Alfie from England, you should definitely look her up. She loves tattoos. So if you ever go to England
Oh,
and ever decide, look up the female wrestler Alfie.
I'll have to. Yeah, I would love to go to Europe. Probably
Yes.
within the next year, I think.
And I have another female friend that's a tattoo artist slash she's a wrestler. Her name is Shorty.
Hell yeah.
She's cute. You would like Shorty. She's really sweet. So like
Wait, where's Shorty from?
she is from England. I'm not near in
Oh, okay.
Cambridge.
Okay. I know another shorty who might be a fan of, but she's from Denver. I was like, if it's the same one we're thinking of, I'm already ahead of
I'll
you.
find her Instagram for you. I'll send it to you when we're done with the interview on Instagram.
Cool.
So, when it comes to like people wanting to find your tattoo parlor, like is there an Instagram page if somebody wants to get a tattoo from you?
Yeah, a lot of people ask if there's like a website, but on my Instagram is like the biggest way that I traffic business. So on my Instagram personally, it has like the links for my email so you can catch me anywhere. It has the links for the shop that I'm a resident at, linked to it as well. So it's in Baltimore, it's called Spellcraft. The website is linked in my bio, and people can go through there to see more of like the portfolio or everyone and send an inquiry that way. But most of the time I generate business just like through myself, either from social media such as TikTok or Instagram, or it's like they see me in person, they didn't get a chance. But I've been traveling with circuits for conventions for going on 5 years now. So the cool thing about that is once people start to know you, they typically trust you. So the first person that I tattooed in Minneapolis 4 years ago booked with me again, like for this upcoming year. So you like generate the same kind of business. So oftentimes people know where to find me on the road because I always post the dates like on my Instagram and the stories, or I just personally actually answer all my emails, which a lot of people don't do, but I work extra hard and I maintain contact. But other than that, if I am at home for maybe a week or two in a month, it's always in the same place in Baltimore, Spellcraft.
Awesome. Before we go, I want to wish you best of luck on all your tattoos and your gigs and everything. Um, Thank you so much for taking this opportunity.
Of
I'm
course.
Joe Panther the Third,
I'm Brookelle Bombshell.
and we will catch you in the next one.